This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I don't do this often. I haven't been uploading much on this channel. For those of you that don't know, I don't upload here because this is a base channel for me to reach out to you to let you know where I'm uploading. I have 2 new channels. They are linked below. Please make sure you sub to it now, okay? Because this video is definitely going to get a strike if I leave it up for too long, and I'm not leaving it up for long. So watch it now. Download it then if you don't want to. What I'm giving you here is a website exclusive. This is the type of content that I'm putting up on the website, acallforanuprising.com, which is $2.99 a month. It's the price of a muffin, for crying out loud, price of a cup of coffee. People get upset about the fact that there's a charge. I couldn't make it a smaller amount than $2.99 to run the website, as far as all the things that need to go into it, being able to provide email marketing campaigns, which is a good amount of money per month. And of course, keeping trolls out. And that's really the big thing. The whole forum would be just filtered with all sorts of perverse, disgusting stuff. I have more trolls than most people have that follow me around. And it's because they're the perverse type of trolls, the ones who castrate themselves. So they're very obsessive with me because I openly make fun of them and humiliate them, and I have for years. And they think that they can get under my skin, but they can't. So they won't go past a paywall to do this. And if they will, that's fine. I'll throw them off, and I'll keep their $2.99, and then they can go through the hassle calling their credit card company, et cetera, and have a good time. So the website is $2.99 a month. This is the type of content you get on there. And I'm talking on there in this video I'm about to play for you about everything going on in Ukraine, the covering of Khazaria. These are things that the Khazar Jews, you cannot talk about on YouTube. I used to talk about it very early on in my channel, first year or so. Once Pizzagate hit, the heavy censorship came, and a lot of things happened since then. And I mean, you literally can't even talk about men cutting off their penises anymore. That's hate speech. So they're censoring all of this stuff, but this all ties into what the Bible talks about as a fake group of people who you cannot question, who claim to be Jews and are not, of the synagogue of Satan. And everything going on with Ukraine, all ties into this. It all ties into it because that is Khazaria. That's that land over there. And the stuff you hear about Russia and Ukraine, it's really about the CIA in Ukraine and what they're trying to do and militarizing the CIA even more than they already are. So this video is from the website. Make sure you watch to the end because the stuff that I put in there is important for those of you who are new to all this. A lot of you have seen some of it, heard some of it in the past. But again, this is from the website. I hope to see more people on the website, but at the very least, please join my other channels now. Pause the video now and subscribe to those channels linked below. Here is the video in its entirety from the website.
YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show exclusively here on acallforanuprising.com. I wanted to do a video talking more about what's going on in Ukraine for people out there that aren't familiar. If you've watched videos in the past that I've done talking about the fake Jews of Israel, the fake Jews that exist, the Khazarian conspiracy, the Zionist conspiracy, those types of things, then you're probably well versed with what's going on in Ukraine, because Ukraine really is the land of the Khazars, Khazaria. That's the land that's being occupied by what is Ukraine. Now, there's a lot of theories about what's actually going on in Ukraine in regards to, is Russia going after the Khazars, or is this a war from within? Now, the land of Ukraine has been fully occupied as far as a central intelligence base by the CIA for a long period of time. They operate out of Ukraine. A ton of child trafficking, maybe the most in the world. I wouldn't have that data accurately because I don't know where you would find that data, but Ukraine is a hub for child trafficking. That is factual. Is it the most? Well, America probably is the most in reality. But Ukraine is a place where not only do they launder money, we hear this stuff about laundering money, and Ukraine launders money to Democrats. These are all kind of like cookie cutter, cupcake, I always say, types of narratives where people are like staying in the left-right trap and not realizing what Ukraine really is. So the CIA uses Ukraine for all sorts of things, smuggling drugs. They use Ukraine as an intelligence front. And of course, there is conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Now, you could have the perspective about Russia and thinking, well, you know, we've seen Vladimir Putin at the World Economic Forum. He was groomed by Klaus Schwab. So I don't believe the theory that Russia's trying to fight against the Khazars, but some people do. And that's fine if you want to believe in that theory. I believe that what's happening is Ukraine is imploding deliberately from within. They're trying to rid that entire area. They're trying to rid it of people who are Christian. They're trying to rid it of anyone who is not a Khazarian Jew. Now, they're not real Jews, so don't take offense to it. People automatically hear this and they put up a defense immediately, thinking, oh, you're anti-Semitic. All this stuff is all mind control propaganda. Anti-Semitism, all this stuff. The people who are claiming to be Jews are not Jews. This is in the Bible, okay? If you actually look at the logo for Ukraine, you'll actually see the Moloch sigil. You'll see the Khazarian symbol. They call it the Tamga, okay? And you can see it's the exact same symbol. These are the Khazars who reside there. Now, the CIA is openly it's openly admitted at this point that the CIA is running and controlling this war. Even Zelensky has admitted to working directly with the CIA in this war. Of course they are, because there's not really a war going on. The only thing that's happening is that Ukrainian people who are not in on this, who are not Khazarian, and for the most part are the middle class and the poorer class, are being killed. I'm not saying that that part of it is fake. I'm saying this whole narrative of Russia versus Zelensky is not real. They are going to build Ukraine up. That is why Larry Fink and all these people at BlackRock are involved in the new building of Ukraine. That's why they're demolishing. It's like a controlled demolition where there are human sacrifices that take place. And the human sacrifices, of course, the war being waged against the citizens there. They're also, of course, using Ukraine as an out for all these other things with the climate, with the food shortages. This is all working into Agenda 2030. But here's some quotes from the CIA. You can even look at the guy, the head of the CIA. You could just tell the guy's a pedophile, because of course he is. I mean, he's probably one of the sickest people walking the earth right now. Probably not even human, but one of the sickest people alive, because anybody who's the head of the CIA would have to be heavily involved in this. And you could hear him talking about how this is so great for the CIA. Nobody picks up on the little things that they say as far as, oh, you know, a once-in-a-generation opportunity for the CIA. What? He's talking about a once-in-a-generation. We're supposedly there's a war going on between Ukraine and Russia, but he's telling us it's a once-in-an-opportunity situation for the CIA. Of course it is, because the CIA is expanding in Ukraine. And one of the headlines out there right now is about NATO and Ukraine and getting Ukraine into NATO and all these other things that big promises between America and Ukraine. Biden and the G7 leaders are making major announcements with Zelensky and building a military that can defend itself. Of course, they're building their new world order military base in Ukraine. But take a look at some of these quotes admitting to the CIA's control of this operation.
Disaffection with the war will continue to gnaw away at the Russian leadership beneath the steady diet of state propaganda and practiced repression. That disaffection creates a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us at CIA, at our core, a human intelligence service. We're not letting it go to waste. We recently used social media, our first video post to Telegram, in fact, to let brave Russians know how to contact us safely on the dark web. We had 2.5 million views in the first week, and we're very much open for...
I know the U.S. CIA Chief Bill Burns has come and visited you regularly. He was here recently. What did you tell him about your plans to take back territory in the counteroffensive?
Я, чесно кажучи, був здивований інформацією.
To be honest with you, I was surprised to see the information in some media, both in the U.S. and Ukrainian and European media. My communication with the CIA chief should always be behind the scenes, and the media attention because we discuss important things, what Ukraine needs and how Ukraine is prepared to act. We don't have any secrets from CIA because we have good relations, and our intelligence services talk with each other. I don't know what were other contacts. I don't really remember which media I read it in. The situation is pretty straightforward. We have good relations with the CIA chief, and we are talking. I told him about all the important things related to the battlefield, which we need.
I know the U.S.
So people don't seem to realize what's actually going on because we live in a really stupid society. I mean, when we actually are asking the question if men could have babies and things like that, It just sums up what's going on in the world. So you can't expect these people to think anything past the basic level of mind control that's been put on them as far as anti-Semitism, questioning Jews. This has been going on for a long period of time. Blood libel, human sacrifice, Moloch worship. This all obviously goes back to the Old Testament and sacrificing children. Right? This is still something that's very prevalent in society, but most of these people are under such mind control, they can't even get to the point where they question people actually pretending to be Jews who are not Jews. So the land that is occupied by Ukraine, this is Khazaria. And I'm going to show you clips here. I'm going to put them in a different order because I sometimes I know you don't watch, everybody doesn't watch the videos in full, and that's perfectly understandable. I don't either, other people's videos. So not all the time, sometimes. But I've aired this before from Ted Pike about the Khazars and the fake Jews, and of course all the teachings in the Talmud, which are about, you know, going after Christians, hating Jesus, mocking all of us, and of course they all tie into this agenda you see going on in the world right now. So I'm going to put this in a reverse order so you could see the Khazarian overtake, the overthrow of Judaism, and how the Jews were separated because they were figuring out who were real Jews and who weren't, and who was following the Babylonian teachings, the Zohar, the Talmud, which again is one of the most perverse books which condones pedophilia in the world. And you'll hear that towards the end of the video. I'll put that part towards the end because you've heard it before probably. But take a look at this and start to connect the dots with what you're seeing worldwide, with communism, a rising corruption, how capitalism is the enemy. This is something that's been happening over and over again throughout history, yet people have been stopping it. Now we're at a point where the mind control is so thick, it doesn't seem like it's possible for society to stop this. But there's always a chance that that is God's plan. I know we all look at this and we're like, God's going to come back, he's going to stop this from happening. Well, of course it's God's plan. But nobody knows the day or the hour. Nobody knows if, people probably in the 1900s with World War II and what was going on thought that the end was very, very near. And the communist takeover and what, was going on. And then, of course, the many times that communism has infiltrated America and been stopped. But obviously, if you look around and see the dumbed down society we live in, it's almost impossible to see anything but the end being near. So take a look at about the Khazars, about communism, about the corruption, about the control of the media. And then, it's very easy to understand what's going on. And again, remember, now think about what's going on with Ukraine right now. And think about, for those of you who have been with my channel from the beginning, and this documentary is from the early 90s. Look how much this connects to today's world. I mean, look how much of this over the last 30 years, and then look where we are now, where we literally have what they call a proxy war, which is just call it the CIA's war in Ukraine against the people of Ukraine, going on in the exact land where the Khazars dwell.
Yet even before Maimonides came on the scene in the 12th century, another dilemma was being created in Judaism far to the east. This was a dilemma not concerning the doctrines of the Jews, but over who actually was a Jew.
In their articles on Khazars, the Jewish encyclopedias tell us that in the 8th century AD, Jewish missionaries ventured north of Babylon to the land of the Khazars between the Caspian and the Black Seas. Khazaria was a vast grassland on what is now the plains of southern Russia, inhabited by a race of merchants, artisans, and warriors of Hunnish Turkish stock. About 740 AD, the king of the Khazars converted to Judaism and made it the state religion. Incredibly, within a few centuries, the people of Khazaria convinced themselves that they were not Gentiles after all, but the physical descendants of Abraham. Thus, by the 10th century AD, a nation of proselyte Jews thrived in what is now central Russia. During the Middle Ages, the fierce Mongols from the east and Russians from the north drove the Khazars west out of their ancient homeland. Most settled in Eastern Europe, especially Poland, where they established communities of artisans and traders. Judaism thus became divided into two basic groups which remain today: the Ashkenazim, which are the Khazars of the East, and the Sephardic Oriental, which are Jews of Spain, Turkey, and lands bordering on the Mediterranean. Today, the Ashkenazim, or Khazars, are the vast majority, about 80% of those who call themselves Jews. The two most recent premiers of Israel illustrate these two racial types. Shimon Peres is a Sephardic Jew from authentic Jewish stock. Yitzhak Shamir, like Menachem Begin, is Ashkenazim or Khazar in origin.